And welcome. It's Austin, Texas, USA, where everything is a little bit bigger. And tonight, the NORA Truck Series 2023 Season 5 visits the Circuit of the Americas. Yes, indeed, turning right and left is going to be a challenge for even the most talented of truck drivers. Hello once again, I'm Trevor Greenfield, and you're watching live on VirtualRacing.Network. It's our ongoing coverage of the NORA Truck Series, and of course, this is your exclusive home of the NORA Cup and Truck Series for 2023. So as we get ready for tonight's action, trucks are just about to head down there and qualify. Go ahead and bring you up to speed. Of course, last week, it was an exciting one at Atlanta. Very different track than this one. Christopher Heights taking victory over David McGuire. Third place going to Josh Conover. Fourth to Keegan Bitzer. And fifth to Timothy Harper. As I mentioned, this being such a different track, we are set for quite a different array of drivers who might be doing well tonight. We look forward to seeing that momentarily. But first, on your screen are the driver points. You can see Brian L. Jones at the top of the list. Will he be at the end of tonight? That is the question. We're still very early in the points championship. Timothy Harper in second place. Torrin Schertz in third. Jacob Vladelich in fourth. Sean Briscoe in fifth. Nick Geilis in sixth. Mark Bremkamp in seventh. David McGuire in eighth. Christopher Heights in ninth. And Josh Conover your top 10. You can see the rest there on your screen. Now let's get to those owner points again. It's just starting to heat up in that points championship. You can see there, Nightmare Motorsports on top with the number 24 machine. Second to Brian Powell Motorsports, and third to Brian Powell Motorsports. So win for Nightmare Motorsports, separating them out. Otherwise, Powell Motorsports there takes the two of the top three positions. Get that off the screen and jump down trackside as the trucks are now officially on track and ready to try their hand at going fast around this very long track, 3.41 miles for those of you keeping track. And should be an exciting one. We see Craig Schroeder out there This is open qualifying tonight, so no single car action. Everybody gets a chance to go out there with other tracks out there. And in practice, we saw none other, well, I would tell you that Vincent Arthur was the fastest, and that wouldn't be a surprise. But he wasn't the fastest completely. That was Brian Jones, and Brian Jones was actually fastest over most of the practice session until Vincent Arthur dropping in quite a bomb there at the very end, taking all fastest sectors and going up by a full second. So who will we see take victory tonight? Who will we see take pole position? That's anyone's question. We watch on to find out. 7 minutes remaining here, so these drivers will get in maybe 2 laps around this track under green. We watch to see who will be the first one. Currently, Craig Schroeder there on your screen. He's currently on his first wire. Makes his way through the S's in that number 10 machine. Jump on board. You can see that it's quite a challenge turning right and left, as you can imagine. Certainly something not for the faint of heart. And you can see open qualifying already leading to some contact. I believe that was Corey Danielson there having an incident going across Craig Schroeder. See, this is anything but easy to do. Cody Height on your screen there in the number 1 machine, currently sitting in second place as we get this one rolling, but he hasn't turned in official time yet. He's just lining up in second place. He's about halfway done with his lap. We'll be able to get over to him in just a minute. Brad Fulham out there for Full Send Motorsports, putting in his lap as well. Pretty much everybody on track. Cody Dorsey just now kind of getting out of the pits. Jason Conover not yet quite getting out of the pits. He's still sitting there on pit lane. Trevor White for King Motorsports still sitting in the pits. But everybody else on track at the moment. We'll be able to give you some lap times coming up here very shortly. In the meantime, once again, great to have you with us here on VirtualRacing.Network as we get set for a very exciting evening of action. Going to be doing quite a few laps around here, 42 to be exact. That's the full-length Craftsman Trucks distance that they would be doing in real life. Of course, this NORA Truck Series, a full-length race series. But in addition to that, they've decided we are going to do the stage racing. So tonight, that will be stage 1 at lap number 12, stage 2 at lap number 26. We look on to see that here momentarily. And just like that, we've got a couple of laps in the books. Josh Conover, owner of the NORA Cup and Truck Series, slots into the top spot there. The number 17 car for Harper Motorsports. That Chevy currently sitting with a 218.78. Just like that, Brian Jones, as we mentioned, fast driver here in the trucks. He's gone second, but he's already been pushed down as we see Sean Briscoe put in a stellar lap there for Capital Motor Club. Going to be sitting out the next lap. I guess perhaps going to take on some fresh tires, try and give another flyer, but he puts in a good one at 218.33. Now, none of these are as fast as what we saw Vincent Arthur put in earlier. Here's Vincent Arthur just coming up, close out his first lap. What will he do on this lap? Watch here as he comes around that final corner, brings it up to speed. And like that, goes third. So not as fast as we saw in qualifying or in practice before this qualifying event. We watch to see who will get in the next fastest time. Here's Brady Motes. Brady Motes, one of the drivers out there that you want to keep an eye on. That number 69, Brian Powell Motorsports machine. Getting a little bit sideways as he goes through the corner. We're seeing a lot of that tonight. For those of you then watched the truck race this last weekend and also caught the other races on track, including Cup. Saw a lot of that. We certainly have a lot to expect in turn 1. The drivers fanning out 6, 8 wide. Doesn't really matter. As many as you can fit in there. Seeing a lot of contact, a lot of incident points, I'm sure. But either way, we hope these drivers can keep it clean and the corner successful race, enjoyable for all of us to see it when it is when you don't have drivers necessarily spinning out. But who knows what we'll get tonight. Sean Briscoe sitting at the top of the leaderboards, but he's still sitting in the pits. Josh Conover puts in second fastest time for Harper Motorsports. He's still putting in another lap, so he's going to give it another shot. Vincent Arthur about 3/4 of the way through this lap here. So we watch on to see whether or not he'll be able to get that truck up there into one of the top 2 positions on that front row. There's another driver you want to watch out for, Timothy Harper in that number 99 truck. Rolls across the line there for his second lap. So far, only a 2:20, a couple of seconds off of that lead pace, but currently sitting in 8th place. How about this driver, Ronnie Norman for SS Motorsports? He's definitely one of the faster drivers in the field overall. But again, we don't have much to go off of because this is the first road course race of the season. So perhaps some of these drivers are going to be suffering a little bit as they head over here into road course territory. A couple of drivers not quite getting in a time yet. We've got Joey States here, who's putting in his second lap, and he still hasn't quite turned in a fast lap. So that's because he probably had an off track on his first lap. He'll have to reset, or possibly a little bit of scrape the wall, something along those lines. So States to roll through for his first official lap, and right behind him we'll have Trevor White. States still not getting in a lap there, so we watch on to find out when perhaps he will get in one official lap. Trevor White also not able to set a time thus far. Matthew George for Flatline Motorsports also not able to set a fast lap so far. Kevin Bitzer, and Corey Danielson, a number of these drivers who have put in a lap, but they still have not been able to put in a clean lap and get their name to the top of the list. Sean Briscoe, though, he has for Capital Motor Club. He's looking pretty stellar out there in that white and red Victory Fuel number 39. Thus far, putting it to the top of the order. So we watch on here to see who else will have a chance to take victory in the pole position setting category for tonight. And again, doesn't really mean a heck of a lot because by the time that this is all over, they're going to be 10 wide into the first corner. So it's anyone's guess as to how it will turn out after turn 1, but the prestige of taking pole position, the bonus point, is really what it's all about. So Briscoe will pull it back in as this one is just now finishing up. And we watch on to see if anyone can get in a final lap that will perhaps take a higher position. This Vincent Arthur getting in a final lap here, and he will go to the top of the charts with his very final lap, a 2:17.77. There you go. That's why we watch to the end. Brian Jones, is he going to get in an even better lap here as this one is still finishing up? Brian got to go around this final corner. I don't know if he quite has enough time to finish this one out. Joey States puts in a time there, sliding into 9th fastest. Ronnie Norman hanging on in 8th. Brian Jones is up to 4th. And I think that's all that matters. He'll have a pretty good look at it from 4th position. as will Vincent Arthur and Sean Briscoe. Briscoe, I'm sure, thought he was going to be on pole position as Arthur just kind of waited and waited and waited, and then finally dropped that big bomb there on that third lap, was able to supplant Briscoe. So Briscoe might need to look at that and say, you know, maybe I could have gone out there, found another half a second if I put in another lap or two. But either way, finding a half a second is a really tricky thing to do, and that is pretty much what the gap is at that moment from first back to second. So just finishing this one up, and we will be able to get you the final grid and get you started with tonight's action on the track. Keegan Bitzer still out there putting in a final lap. I think he's our final driver that could roll across the line and possibly improve his position. He's sitting in 19th position right now. So we'll watch and see whether or not he can manage to jump up there and take the pole position or not from 19th place. We watch on to see whether that's a possibility. And he now makes his way. We're about halfway through his lap, so it could be a little while until we get Bitzer in the books here, so to speak. But he is managing to get the Amazon sponsorship out there. There we go. We've finally gone through that through that lap that he was putting in, and now we can go ahead and announce the starting grid for tonight's NORA Cup Series race number 4 here from the virtual Austin, Texas. Go ahead and get everything cleared off the screen so we can get set for our grid tonight for Austin at COTA. There it is on your screen. You can see it. Vincent Arthur takes your pole position. We're going to have a chance to talk with him during the race tonight. Very short pace lap, so we have to get through this pretty quick. Second place, outside front row, will be Sean Briscoe. Second row to Josh Conover. Outside second row will be Brian Jones. Third row to Brady Moats. And outside will be Timothy Harper. Fourth row to Cody Height. And outside will be Ronnie Norman. Joey States on the fifth row. And alongside him will be Nick Eilis. Matthew George on that sixth row with Jacob Bladelich. Todd Slauson in that seventh row with Brad Fulham. Torrin Schertz and Mark Bremkamp. Christopher Heights in 17th with Cody Dorsey, Keegan Bitzer, and Craig Schroeder. 21st to Corey Danielson and Trevor White in 22nd. And our final starter tonight will be none other than Jason Conover. We take a look. The pace truck is rolling here in Austin. We're just about to jump into this one, so buckle down those belts and get ready for an exciting evening of action here on VirtualRacing.Network as we bring you the NORA Truck Series here on VirtualRacing.Network, exclusive home of the NORA Truck Series, and we are so excited to get this one underway here momentarily. I know Vincent Arthur probably very excited to take that pole position there at the last moment from Sean Briscoe, add to his collection. Get ready for tonight's action, and it will be intense for sure as we head into turn 1. Josh Conover going to be looking on from third place. This is what he sees from his truck here. Going to be pretty clear sailing for him, as long as he doesn't get hit from behind. Brian Jones, Brian Powell Motorsports Machine, be ready to go here momentarily. Quick look at tonight's track info before we get rolling. Going to be a good one tonight. 4-mile-per-hour cross breeze, 98 degrees on the track. Again, we'll get a chance to talk with Brady Moats and others, Vincent Arthur, about this. And car cams provided by Shane Weinmiller and Sim Wrap Market. And so with that, we're just about ready to get this one underway. Vincent Arthur about ready to lead us down to the green flag. jump on board with Arthur. And we are green here in Austin, Texas. As they head down towards turn 1, you see them fanning out there. Arthur still in the lead with Briscoe on the outside, still pretty much looking good coming through turn 1. Everybody behaving themselves a lot better than we saw in that Cup race yesterday, that was for sure. Back up in front though, it's Briscoe who's now taken the lead from Arthur off of that second corner. So Briscoe has managed to make it work. I do have a note that Trevor White has possibly crashed. Keegan Bitzer, Jason Conover having potential issues in the back. There's back to Conover and Bitzer. Perhaps they just slowed down Trevor White as well. But back up in front, it's Sean Briscoe who has stolen that lead from Vincent Arthur. And nothing more infuriating than to lose that lead position right off of the bat. So Vincent Arthur will likely be looking to steal that one back here pretty soon. Take a look. Let's see if I can find that for you here and be able to pull up a replay of it. But Vincent Arthur now trying to size him up. Briscoe, that is, for the position. Here he makes the move down the inside. Is he going to stay with it, or is he going to back out? He, in fact, does stay with it. He'll make that pass on Briscoe, and now that lets Brian Jones come down the inside as he holds up Briscoe through the corner. Jones on the outside there. He'll decide to back out of it, and now that lets Josh Conover come up next to Brian Jones. Conover for Harper Motorsports now making that move on third, but he'll also back out of it, so a number of drivers thought maybe they would go through, but decided they would think a little bit better of it. They let that one go through for the moment. So back up at the front though, Arthur is still holding down that lead in front of Briscoe, in front of Jones, Conover, and Timothy Harper up into 5th position. He's gained 1 spot from 6th. So Jones up a spot over Conover, and Harper now over Moats. Moats has now slipped 1 spot on that start. Joey State up 2 spots over Cody Height and Ronnie Norman. And Nick Geilis, your top 10. We've got some more side-by-side action back here with Slauson and George side-by-side. And it looks like Slauson will emerge in front. Vladelich sideways. Yes, he is. Jacob Vladelich in his Ford for Brian Powell Motorsports. He's going to try to spin it around, but he's going to take that truck right back into the wall. Try to get it around again, and he's back underway. So rough early going there for Jacob Vladelich, but he gets it back underway. Vincent Arthur doing what he does best, though. Took that position back from Briscoe and says, okay, that's enough. I'm not going to let any more of that silly passing happen. Make a little bit of room. And here, Brady Moats getting by Timothy Harper. But Moats is not able to make it stick. Watch on here. And it looks like Harper not able to get back by. So Moats gets back by Harper to where he first started the race, there in 5th position. With that, we're seeing Arthur setting fastest first sector time, and second and third fastest sector belonging to Josh Conover, who's making a very good time back here, but still down a position from where he started in that code red 17 for Harper Motorsports. Looking now on the backside of Brian Jones. Probably not too long until he decides to make that pass. Back at the front, clean sailing for Vincent Arthur. You can see way in the background there, that's Briscoe. Already about 1.6 second lead for Arthur over Briscoe. Jones back another second. 1.06, 8 seconds back. I've got a note that says Corey Danielson has had a moment. In fact, he's shown by himself a little ways off, 13 seconds back, so perhaps he did have a second. So let's take a look at this. Was this the cause of him to drop back a little bit? Indeed. The late braking there into pretty much a full stop. Now Matthew George having a moment. I've got a note here that says perhaps Matthew George just had a moment here. This is looking at George coming into turn 1. It says he went off track and has come back on a couple of times now. We'll stay with this replay here. Check it out. George dropping back 8 positions from where he started. Currently shown now in 19th. Looks like he gets back underway again. Matthew George also not having the best start that he would like. Back up in front, no problem for Vincent. He continues here tonight. His reign of terror on the NORA Series, as he is it's not always converted into a win for him, but his speed is well known through the Cup now and Truck Series. Certainly no better driver necessarily in the series than Vincent Arthur at the moment. Definitely shown that he has the capability of winning about every time out. Look at perhaps Nick Geilis having a moment just a moment ago. Not sure if he in fact came down to a crash or not, but this is what our software said, so we'll take a look at this. See Geilis, I see just coming down, practically a stop and running off the track there. But he recovers himself quite nicely. Now we're working on lap number 3 of 42 overall. Again, we'll have our first stage end on lap number 12, and then lap number 26 for the second stage. Back at the front, there Vincent Arthur, currently in the lead and in charge. Let's jump on board with Arthur's machine to look at what it's like to ride around with Arthur. A lot of seesawing at the wheel as he makes his way here. This is a tricky track in any car that you drive. Doesn't matter. Of course, certainly the Americas has seen Formula One, it's seen IMSA, IndyCar, you name it. Just about any one of the top series that's been here. But it is a tricky track to drive, no matter what car you're driving in. It's got a very interesting mix of corners, some very long straightaways. A balanced track, obviously, when you've got this nice mix of corners, you've got to really get your setup to be nice and balanced overall. You really can't afford to choose the side with one way or the other. And you've got to be able to notice some of the subtleties that these tracks have. And here Briscoe has had a problem. He's just slid back a little bit. That's Brian Jones, who's gotten around in the Brian Powell Motorsports machine. So Briscoe having a moment, and now I'm seeing Heights perhaps having an issue back a little bit further. There's Heights sitting sideways on the track. So I have a feeling we're going to be seeing a little bit more of this as the night goes on. Driver starting to struggle with those tires and keep that truck pointed in the front direction. Instead of spinning out as it's done, but back up at the front, Briscoe in 3rd place at the moment. Got to be really scratching his head over that one. See if we can tell exactly what happened to put Briscoe back there. We have a note that he had that he came down to perhaps a total stop here on the track. Broke down, perhaps, okay. So he went a little deep into the corner. That's what we saw before, and then he went off, which allowed Jones to get around him. So back, looking at the live picture here. Briscoe in 3rd, Brian Jones in 2nd place, up 2 spots. Jones really having a good showing here so far in this first stage in the opening laps. That's what the intention is. Get out and qualify as well as you can, but put in a good race, pass a few cars. You never know where you're going to end up into this one. Looking a little bit further back, here's Ronnie Norman. Started in 8th, he's drifted back to 9th, just one spot, but so far doing all right in number 6 there. Not having too many issues thus far here in the opening laps. And here's the number 43 for Joey States, who has already climbed up 3 positions in this opening stint of the NORA Truck Series race number 4 here at Austin. So aside from them, we really haven't seen too much passing, except if you look back here at Jason Conover, who has climbed 11 positions from the start on this one. And I would say maybe that's just because he's been kind of in the right place at the right time. We'll see a bit more action here between Trevor White, Mark Bremkamp, a number of these drivers sliding forwards and backwards. Trevor White up 8 spots so far. Conover up 11 spots, as I mentioned, and Corin Schertz, who's just in front in 11th place, up 4 spots. So Schertz already having a good start to his evening. Again, a chance to do so much more damage with these stages that we have coming up here. But Vincent Arthur starts his 6th lap of the event, about halfway through stage 1. And it's been clean sailing for Arthur. He got passed by Sean Briscoe on the opening lap. That was something else. But since then, also now just seen Briscoe go off track. So this was a minute ago as well. Take a look at this replay. Go too deep into the corner again. Yes, he does. A little too deep into that final corner. Out by Josh Conover. So Conover of Harper Motorsports, just be patient there. Code Red Machine. He gets through. Then we had this incident from Corey Danielson. He had problems before, but it looks like, I don't really know why the truck would move around at that exact place. It somehow missed the shift. Awkward. Gets on the gas maybe a little bit too much for the corner. That truck just flies out of control. Back to the live picture here, and it's like, I say it, but it looks like Danielson having another moment ago. There's a 4-wheel drift through the corner, but unfortunately that's not the fast way through. A lot of excitement for the fans, though, that wanted to see one of these trucks do some drifting out there. Next one out is Keegan Blitzer, though. Blitzer having a moment here. And it looks like he almost collects another truck. But Blitzer manages to keep it going. And now another moment. This was, bring it up on screen. This is Cody Dorsey having a moment. Going off track. Oh, I see. That was to avoid Bitzer. And this was another moment. This was Trevor White avoiding the 22 truck and taking a little bit wide in turn number 1. Now perhaps Bitzer having another moment. Check in on that one while we can. And we've got Sean Briscoe getting by Josh Conover, who has had a little bit of a setback here. He now finds himself a little bit further back than he was. It looks like Conover maybe tried to make a move. We're going to take a look at this one. Conover perhaps making a pass here on Brian Jones. Not sure if Jones Was expecting this pass, but either way, Conover just not able to hold it. Tried to hold it down, but could not do so, and that's what set him back. And now he's racing with Braden Motes for position. Brady just behind there in that number 69 car. So Conover does recover, and he'll keep at it. Brian Jones, though, tell you what, that's Sean Briscoe, but Brian Jones is only about a half a second ahead of Briscoe. 5 seconds back from Arthur at the moment. So Jones, though, looking solid out there in second place. A moment ago, he did have that pass from Conover, so I imagine Conover will try to regroup himself, get back up there, and try and make another move here momentarily. Now we've got Conover, Jason Conover. Looked like maybe had himself a moment there, perhaps just going deep into the corner. Take a look at that incident. Danielson having another moment. I think Danielson has jumped to the pit, so perhaps this was the one that finally did it for him. Capital Motor Club driver just deciding enough is enough. Indeed, jumping to the pits after that one. Go back to the live picture. And Vincent Arthur still in your lead. No troubles for Arthur. He continues to rock this Napa Chevy through its paces here around the Circuit of the Americas in virtual Austin. Once again, great having you joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. Make sure to let us know that you're out there watching. Saying this isn't the Cup Series. Perhaps I said it once. My apologies for anybody out there who's listening that carefully. Thanks for letting me know, just Cam. But indeed, it is the NORA Truck Series, and the exclusive home of both the Truck and the Cup Series. I'm your exclusive announcer, so if you don't like it, well, I guess you can mute the audio. Dagerack Gaming, let's go Harper Motorsports. I agree so much. Harper is showing well out there. Currently sitting with Josh Conover here in fourth place. Give you a little rundown here. Timothy Harper, fourth namesake, Harper Motorsports, running in seventh place. So a couple of drivers up there in the top 10. And just as we jump on board, Christopher Height must have known we were about to cut to him, because there he goes doing the pirouettes around the track. Heights recovers though. Our race winner from last time out in Atlanta. What an exciting race that was for those of you that missed it. That was a barn burner, as was the Cup Series race. Closest finish in NORA history. So you'll definitely want to go back and watch that one if you missed it out there, but exciting stuff. Lap number 9 is just about in the book for Vincent Arthur. That means just a couple more laps until the end of stage 1, and I tell you, he has got a monster lead, already up to close to 6 seconds. Gets that truck sideways, exiting the corner. Step on board with him and wrecks the truck through the corners. Deadly with that truck. Saw him pass Sean Briscoe on that opening lap. After Briscoe took charge there after the green flag. It was some exciting stuff to watch. This was just at the start, so we can now watch this replay. It took a while to find it. But here it is, Sean Briscoe challenging Vincent Arthur on that start and getting by into turn one, or out of turn one, excuse me. And it wasn't much longer after that then we saw Vincent Arthur set up for the pass on Sean Briscoe, managed to take that position back. See if we can get that queued up for you again. Good stuff so far from both Arthur and Briscoe. Arthur pulling ahead now by close to 6 seconds. Briscoe now sitting in third position. So Briscoe kind of getting up on the back of Jones at the moment. It was Conover who looked like he might be able to slide up into second. He made that move on Jones and then drifted a little too far into the corner, and that allowed Jones to get back through. But will Briscoe be able to make the move on Jones this time before we get to the end of stage number one? We'll be watching for that for sure. Like we've got some more action happening a little bit further back. This is Brad Fulham and Matthew George racing. George in that number 4, excuse me, and Torrance Shirt just in front in that 33. Shirt's up 4 positions so far today. Jason Conover, he wasn't done. If we look just a little bit further down the track here, Conover, 13 positions gained for this driver. Considerable job he's done. And just as the course was cut away, Briscoe manages to get this position here for second place from Jones. Take a look and see what you missed. This is Briscoe lining up Jones, exiting the corner. That is quite a jump that he got on Jones. Congratulations to him. Thank you also, Whackers, for subscribing to VirtualRacing.Network. So great to have you on board with us here. So we're going to be your exclusive home, as I mentioned. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but my goodness me, is it exciting that we have the NORA Trucks and the NORA Cup Series right here, VirtualRacing.Network, for the rest of the season. And we'll be hoping to get Christian Snyder, for those of you that caught last week's race, trying to get him back in the booth here with us soon. Stay tuned for that. He's been under some health issues and some personal issues, so trying to get him back in here. And hopefully some other notable talent will be able to stop in and see us here over the coming season, step in and do some commentating with us. But either way, at the end of this stage, get a chance to talk with our leader, Vincent Arthur, and perhaps Brady Moats, and get a chance to see what they have to say about tonight's race so far. Look a little bit further down the order, and it's Todd Slauson. He's dropped 2 spots so far for Full Send Motorsports, but giving it a good run. That Menards number 22. And this is just the early going, you know, this is just the first stage. So really, you know, for a lot of these drivers, just trying to feel out the track. Looks like Matthew George, perhaps another moment here. We'll come back to him. Try to get that one together again. He's now drifted a ways back down the track, but again, not everybody necessarily a road course racer. And as we saw in the real life series, some drivers that you would figure might just be left-hand turners, hey, they do find a home on the road courses. They say, hey, it isn't so bad. But some other drivers, they pretty much find out real quick whether or not they've got a knack for this right turning, left turning, braking, hard turning, late apexing. It's not exactly the same as driving an oval at super high speed like we saw last week at Atlanta. But Vincent Arthur continuing here on lap number 11. We've seen the stage break on lap number 12. So it looks like he'll be cruising to victory here over stage 1, an entire straightaway that he has an advantage over Sean Briscoe. But then this is where the fight is for second place, and will we see a move made here on this lap? Sean Briscoe, Brian Jones, Josh Conover now very close to one another for second, third, and fourth. And I almost thought that we saw Jones and Briscoe into each other. It was pretty close there. We watch above, and it is Briscoe who still maintains that position. Jones trying to force his truck in there. And it looks like he'll take the move down the inside as we're getting to the end of this lap. It's Briscoe who now tries to take that position back, and he does manage to hold on to it. In the meantime, Vincent Arthur now pulling ahead here on this final lap of stage number 1. And he's done a fantastic job as we get down to the very end of this final lap of stage number 1. I think we're going to see him hold on, because he's as we see Brian Jones and Briscoe, they're fighting it out for that second spot here on this white flag lap of stage number 1. Arthur has had his head down this whole race. He's done a fantastic job. He is not one likely to make a mistake from this point out. So fight is on for second place, though. Briscoe holding his own in this battle. Brian Jones now going to be under attack from Josh Conover. Watch on now from Conover's point of view in his R04 Motorsport Chevy. And you see Jones getting a little loose there as he takes a little bit too much curving through that series of corners, but he manages to keep control of his truck. Conover thinks twice of pushing the envelope. Will Conover get a run here? Possibly decide to make a move. He's taking a look down this long straightaway. This for that third position. Mean a lot for the stage points. Conover making that move stick. So Jones now back to fourth place. He was just up in second. You see Briscoe having an issue, and now Conover side by side with Briscoe. This is the third or fourth time that Briscoe has had an issue, and things just really getting chaotic back here for this second position, as now Conover is in the driver's seat to possibly take second position once again, as he had looked at doing earlier on before he had a setback himself. So now it's Arthur, Conover, Briscoe, Jones, and Moats, your top 5. So a lot of jockeying here for that second, third, and fourth position. You look up in front, there's Arthur coming across the start-finish line now. We'll be seeing a yellow flag here following this one. Arthur going to continue around until they display that yellow flag. Conover holding his own, though, as Brian Jones takes a look down Briscoe. And Arthur continuing to lead here with 8 seconds remaining, or 8-second gap over the top. And welcome back. Apologize for that. A bit of a delay. It looks like we had some sort of a glitch, which I can now see that exactly what was being talked about, that it isn't the Cup Series, in fact, Truck Series. So we made sure we fixed that for you. So now it does reflect the fact that this is the Cup Series and not the Cup Series, excuse me. It is the Truck Series. So apologize for that. Somehow it's glitched in the software. You try to hook these things up right, sometimes it doesn't work right. But either way, live coverage here of the NORA Truck Series. Great to have you with us on VirtualRacing.Network. Vincent Arthur able to get it done here in the very first stage. As we look on, though, it's actually Josh Conover who has taken over the lead. Currently sitting in that top spot over Brian Jones and Brady Motes. Sean Briscoe back into 5th place as the first pit stops made by Arthur and Briscoe. So I'm not sure. I haven't seen it turn yellow yet. So I don't know if perhaps we're not going to see a yellow flag for the first stage. But that was what the plan was, according to the schedule that I looked at. But either way, we continue to watch what happens on the track. As last to know some of these things, but that's what the schedule says, in fact. So Josh Conover continues to lead here. And that was off of that move that he made over Jones not that long ago. In fact, it does say stages 12 and 26, so I just triple checked, and it does in fact say it under the race information that it is supposed to be happening tonight under stage number 12. So we'll assume that maybe they're just doing it a different way, where they don't actually throw the caution on track, because they're handled a little differently for road courses. Perhaps it's a little difficult to do that, but we'll watch on here. Josh Conover in front over Brady Motes. 3rd to Vincent Arthur, and 4th, Brian Jones, now making his pit stop. You can see him there on pit road, that number 45 machine. Continuing here out in 5th position, but back up in front it is Josh Conover, who continues to lead us here over Brady Motes in 2nd. Still has not yet made his pit stop. Everybody else in the field has made their pit stop. Vincent Arthur, Sean Briscoe, Brian Jones, Timothy Harper, Ronnie Norman, Cody Height, Joey States, Nick Geilis, your top 10 there. You see Motes perhaps locking up, into the 5 car. That's Motes connecting with Keegan Bitzer, who was the first truck a lap down. And I know Motes is not going to be happy about that. Difficult run there for him, as we do see that Vincent Arthur managed to get his way back into 3rd place, as he did pass Brian Jones and now Sean Briscoe for that position. So up into 3rd for Vincent Arthur. And I think this is a good time to bring up the track map, because there you can follow your favorite driver on screen. You don't have to listen to where I'm telling you that they are. Watch where they are at all times. Just look for their initial on the little track map there. Vincent Arthur in 3rd, but will he be back into 1st pretty soon? It is possible. Timothy Harper, I take it back, has not yet made a stop, according to our software. And Ronnie Norman, as well as Cody Height, not having made a stop. So basically we have Arthur having made a stop, Briscoe and Jones. And then you got to go back to Joey States and Nick Geilis having made stops. Jason Conover and Brad Fulham also having made stops. And then Craig Schroeder having made a stop there as well. Back at the front, Conover continues to get it done here at Virtual Austin Circuit of the Americas. Again, we may be on the wrong feed, but we're enjoying great coverage here. Hope you're enjoying the 4K ultra high definition picture. Josh Conover enjoying a great race out there in front. Unfortunately, it may be short-lived as just 13 seconds back up the track. It's Vincent Arthur, and well, we all know how long pit stops take. So Josh going to be moving back into a position a little bit further back here pretty soon, but he's enjoying the taste of the lead right now for certain. Brady Moats in second place for Brian Powell Motorsports, but again, same situation. He's going to have to take a step backwards here pretty soon because this driver has just been setting this track on fire. Vincent Arthur continues to set some scintillating lap times. Last time was a 2:18.54, which is just insane. I mean, this is like 7/10 of a second off of his qualifying time. So definitely Arthur out there pushing the envelope and trying to get in these super fast times. And that Bitzer perhaps having another moment. There he is sitting backwards on the track, and he gets it back going again. So Conover continues to lead here over Moats and Arthur as Brian Jones now slides back into 5th place. Timothy Harper into 6th. Cody Height in 7th. Joey States in 8th. Ronnie Norman in 9th. And Nick Geilis back here in 10th. Harper now pulls it into the pits. So that's fresh out of 6th place. Cody Height just behind. He'll do the same. Nice little slide heading into the pits. So Height, though, and Harper will slide back down the order as it looks like States already having made his pit stop is not that much further off the road. But I do see that Jason Conover had a moment not long ago. We'll look back at that one. See what happened here for Jason. As perhaps he would have... Oh, and he almost gets into it with Bitzer as well. Sometimes we get a false positive on our software as a crash, but that's just because we went below a certain threshold on speed. So he continues here in that 21 machine. And Josh Conover taking a little wide from turn number 1. There's 25 laps remaining here in Austin. And there I can see Chris Coulson saying no cautions for stages at road courses. Well, there you go. Hey, I'd appreciate heads up on information like that, but I'm just the broadcaster. I don't always get pumped that information. Maybe it's in the rule book. I'm not sure. My pleasure to be bringing you the NORA Truck Series here. 25 laps remaining, so Vincent Arthur then taking that first stage and getting points for it. Conover now looking to take this second stage. Again, we'll end on lap number 26, which is about another 8 laps here. I'm not sure if he can make it. I doubt he has the fuel window in that truck to be able to make it that far, but it's possible. And certainly that would tell you with how much further that Josh Conover has been able to go here, that would certainly say how much heavier of fuel he had, and quite the shock that he was able to get. I mean, he's still continuing on the original tires that he had, and he was making all kinds of moves in the first stage. So, you know, for him to finish as high as he did is actually quite a shock, considering that Arthur and Briscoe and Jones, obviously they took less fuel for the opening stint. So this is some good stuff from Conover here, although that gap back to Arthur is dropping dramatically. So perhaps this is his overall strategy, just to see if he can hang on to that truck and snag the second stage. That could be the way to go, at least for him. Most of these other drivers, though, choosing to take a pit stop, you got to go all the way back to 11th place for Corin Schertz, who still hasn't made his. Jacob Gladowicz hasn't made his. Trevor White has not made his as well. Remkamp has not made his either. And that is all of the drivers that have not yet made it into the pits. So Conover still in your lead, and Arthur up into second here, about 4.62 seconds back. Briscoe another 13 seconds back from Arthur, so this is starting to stretch out pretty good. We will start to see that gap between Arthur and Conover come together, and again, I don't think Conover can survive 7 more laps of this kind of lap times that Arthur's able to put in. And that's, you know, Conover's still putting in great laps at 219.27. That's certainly, that would be good enough to hold off 4th place Brian Jones. And you have to remember how many more laps are on these tires. But not good enough to hold off the likes of Vincent Arthur, who sitting at 218.19 that last time by. The times continue to fall. Sorry, not the last time by, but his best lap at a 218.19 last time, a 220. Conover last time, excuse me, a 224. So that time actually starting to fall off a bit. But again, still would have been good enough to hold off about 5th place on back, but not good enough to hold off Vincent Arthur and his challenge coming forward. 220.84. Only driver a little bit faster than him was Sean Briscoe, 220.79. So Briscoe, you know, it's still 13.7 seconds up the road to get to Arthur. So still a long road ahead for Briscoe. But I bet a lot of these drivers are wishing there was a caution for these stages, kind of get a chance to regroup. Either way, Arthur said that I could check in with him at some point. And he must have known that there'd be no caution, so I'm going to attempt to do that at some point. I hope we don't ruin his race. He literally told me ahead of this race, he said he and Brady Motes said we could check in with them. And surprised they didn't let me know there was no caution, but they did, and I just didn't forget. Either way, if I was leading a race or about to lead a race, I don't know that I would want to be doing a broadcast interview at that time, but never can tell. Conover pulls it into the pits, so he'll bring it down. And fortunately, Josh Conover actually somehow typing to me in the Discord ahead of the race, so appreciate his multitasking ability. That does, of course, hand over that lead to Vincent Arthur once again in that number 3 Napa Chevy. So exciting stuff for him as he retakes the lead. He's got about a 13-second gap back there to Sean Briscoe. So that for him is gold in the bank. We look back to about the next best battle here between Joey States in 6th place and Ronnie Norman in 7th. And Norman up a position. State's up 3 positions so far today. Norman getting in 221 on that last lap, 221. Well, that time by 222.24. And Joey State's at 223.41. So Ronnie looking a little faster than Tim right now, or than Joey right now. And perhaps he'll be able to get by here before too long. And watch that battle continuing. Take a look a little bit further back. Nick Geilis, or Nightmare, excuse me, Motorsports in the number 24 machine. He's been having a decent race, but hasn't made up any positions from where he started. So it's kind of been just treading water for Nick. And now we take a look. We've got 2 trucks in the pits almost simultaneously going side by side. Vladelich having to stop just behind orange shirts. Those shirts up in front there. BK machine of Vladelich. Got that damage on there from that earlier spin that he had. But they will make that pit stop count this time by. And Arthur about to complete another lap. And you look back, here's that battle between Norman and States. Norman now making that move down to the inside. He's going to try to take this one. Going to back out a bit. Yes, he does. He showed States in the mirror, and now States going wide. So Norman is going to have a go at him after all here. Working on lap number 22. So once again, thank you so much to everybody for joining with us tonight, bearing with us through our issues that we've had so far in this broadcast, but pretty solid straight through coverage. And it's been an interesting one, albeit a bit simplified from the get-go. Once Arthur took the lead, he is gone. And I mistakenly saw the stages, thought there would be a caution. I thought this would regroup up, but much to everyone's dismay, there will be no regrouping after these stages. So this one's going to get a bit strung out and a bit like old school racing for sure. It's the way it was before stage racing was put in. That Hoodie Dorsey perhaps having a moment on board with Dorsey. I think maybe just a little bit of an exit of the track. A little bit of pride there. False positive. Dorsey as he heads out of that final corner. Here now on board with the Napa Chevy. This makes it look so smooth. Hallmark of these great drivers when they are in just kind of a class of their own. Vincent just able to really make it look smooth at all times. Pretty much has a little bit of correction in the wheel at times, but once it corrects it, brings it back to a nice smooth motion. It's exactly what you want out of that wheel. So the truck stays pointed in the fastest direction possible, as you've seen some of these drivers really struggle tonight to keep that truck going in the right direction. There you see Trevor White bringing it in, and you see a little bit of rubbing on that truck there. So had a little bit of a visit to another truck, but so far Trevor's still shown up 6 positions for that number 15 truck. And of course, anyone named Trevor is okay in my book. Vincent Arthur getting it done here. Sean Briscoe, it's been a little while since we talked about him. 13 seconds back of this race, up front in the first position, but it's not that far back to Brian Jones, and this is still a race going on for second. So Jones keeping after it and trying to get it done. Josh Conover sitting there in 4th position for Harper Motorsports, and he's trying to get it done as well, trying to increase or trying to recapture what he had in that first stint. Currently 13.95 seconds back from Brian Jones, so recovering after that pit stop has been easier said than done, and it's possible that maybe he's just banking on being there at the very end, and everyone else, you know, maybe that was like the only pit stop that he's going to do. I'm not really sure. You have to look a little bit deeper into some of these times. I see that Brady Motes had a moment, though, and that did allow Josh Conover to get by. Let's take a look at that one. Actually, this was just behind Josh Conover. So Brady going off track there. Isn't too bad. Brings it back on track. Back to the live picture. And Brady continuing there in 5th place for Powell Motorsports. We're back live here, looking at Vincent Arthur, who continues to dominate. Take a look a little bit further down the order, and Brad Fulham for Full Send Motorsports, one of our lone international entries. He's Canadian. Great to have him in the field tonight. That number 91 truck. He's up 2 spots so far. And he's got Matthew George behind him. George has been having quite a few issues getting that truck righted tonight. But that number 4 always looking solid out there. Flatline Motorsports. And George has had really good luck on the ovals. Craig Schroeder having a little bit of an issue, though. That truck getting a little loose. And he continues to have a problem there. Schroeder, must be the tires on that thing just starting to go off. He did stop on lap number 10. Doesn't have exactly the freshest tires out there, but it just seems like the tires are going off on Craig's Capital Motor Club truck. And he's going to have to watch it for the rest of this stint. So, Vincent Arthur, though, still continuing to make no wrong steps in that number 3 Chevy. He's getting it done, and he's making it look quite easy. Ronnie Norman getting by Joey States. You can figure out exactly what happened here. This was Timothy Harper getting by Joey States. Oh my goodness. That was a little aggressive by Timothy Harper. We'll have to take a look back at that one. Yes, indeed. So if we go on board with Harper, that's what it looked like. Harper just didn't want to stop. And kind of used States as a brake. So that being said, Joey States continues now in 8th place, and Ronnie Norman has gotten by up in 7th. States recovering there nicely to 8th though, but still got Cody Height behind him in that 9th position. Not that far ahead of Vincent Arthur. You've got Nick Geilis for Nightmare Motorsports once again, holding on to that number 24 machine. And if you take a look at the truck that's behind him, 38 seconds, it's this driver, Jason Conover has gained 12 spots so far tonight, so he's still sitting in 11th place, but he's gained 12 spots from where he qualified. That's quite a feat. And right now we're seeing that Brady Moats having an off-track. Also, Jacob Vladovich having an off-track. We'll take a look at Brady's off-track first. There he goes off wide. Not too bad. Seen worse. Seen more egregious off-tracks. Here's Vladovich going off-track. As he was racing side by side there with that number 33 of torn shirts. Take a look at that battle. A scintillating one. I did not know they were racing in this side-by-side battle here, but it looks like Shirts and Vladovich really having a battle, and Vladovich moving ahead, but their Shirts moves ahead and pushes Vladovich out. But Vladovich able to continue as Shirts drops a little bit further back. Vladovich goes a little wide, and that allows Briscoe to get through. So this, as Briscoe trying to get through these trucks that are now a lap down, it allows these trucks to kind of battle it out a little bit. A little bit of a shake-up as they get through, and there you see Brian Jones trying to work his way through. So that was just a moment ago. There's Briscoe, there's Jones. When you look back, that is Shirts back there, I believe. Gotta love the rear cover there for Brian Jones. Oh, there he gets by Vladovich. The Conover, though, going off track. A note here that says he went off track a couple of times. This was earlier, his off track. And just a little off track, not very far at all. Take another look at this off track. Oh, there he takes quite a bit too much of the apex curve, and it forces them out wide. Once again, that's one of the things that you can do here at certainly America. The curbing is pretty high on the inside, and can certainly cause a problem for you. So watching on here, Conover still continuing to run in that fourth spot. Brian Jones going off track just a moment ago. A lot of these drivers really struggling to keep the off tracks to a minimum. You get a certain number of them before you're disqualified, but you generally want to limit that. In real-life racing, the off-tracks being incident points for your safety rating, and well, I say real-life racing, in official series, when you're running in iRacing officials, they will dock you incident points when you come off safety rating, and you're always trying to keep that safety rating as high as possible. But in league racing, pretty much just trying to stay under the numbers before they disqualify you. Vincent Arthur having a heck of a run so far, up 14 seconds on Sean Briscoe. Last lap time was a 22 for Arthur, a 21 for Briscoe, 22 for Brian Jones. Remember, these drivers in the 22s all the way back until you get to Timothy Harper, the first truck in the 24s. So competitive time still up here at the front between Arthur, Briscoe, Jones, Conover, and Mose. But with the gap that already exists, it's just looking a bit insurmountable, save for the possibility that Arthur has a problem. So we continue to watch on and see whether or not he will. But as we are now lap 26, that means that Vincent Arthur, as we are just now completing lap number 27, excuse me, Vincent Arthur did take that stage number 2, and Sean Briscoe taking second, Brian Jones taking third in that stage number 2. For those of you out there keeping score, which I know a number of you are sitting out there with your notepad and your pen, and you're tallying all of the points up live as we go, perhaps even betting on this race. You've got pools going on in your virtual chat rooms out there, keeping track of all of this, and of course betting online as well on this race as well. I can imagine keeping track of all these stage points. So we'll try to keep you informed as much as we can as we go through the night, what the updates are. My goodness, that was just like a bit of a wild ride behind Vincent Arthur there. Sean Briscoe, though, he's been having a pretty solid night in that number 39 Capital Motor Club machine. It's been looking pretty good ahead of Brian Jones. Brian 4.9 seconds back now from Briscoe. But Arthur and Briscoe putting in fairly similar times. That time, Brian Jones at 2:23, so a couple of seconds, a better part of a couple of seconds off of the pace that Arthur and Briscoe are putting in. And Conover also at 2:21.07. So if you're just looking at pure lap times, Conover may be the fastest truck on the track at the moment, as he starts to reel in the others. But he does have, you know, a solid 55-second gap up to Vincent Arthur. So, you know, Arthur could come in, take a full pit stop, come back out, and still hold about a 10-second plus lead over Josh Conover. And that, of course, does not bode well for Josh if he's trying to get up there in sort of pit strategy that would win him this race. But either way, looking good overall for Josh, who has managed to do something that the others haven't, and that is to get up there into that lead for some time. With strategy or not, still a pretty sizable feat to accomplish. Briscoe, of course, getting up there on the opening lap and then drifting back. Now we've got Brian Jones making that final stop, I believe, of the day. 14 laps remaining. So he'll pull it in there for that long pit stop. Joe's so anxious to get that truck rolling again. He is underway. In 5th place, Brady Motes moves up into 4th. Now we can see that Timothy Harper heading down that long pit lane here in Turkey Americas. Beautiful world-class facility they put in here. I can tell you from watching up here in the virtual press booth, world-class facility, you know, the virtual bar that's been provided for us virtual press agents out here doing this coverage. World-class hospitality provided by the NORA Truck Series. Lunch was fantastic. Thank you guys. Here we are enjoying a fantastic race around Circuit of the Americas. Vincent Arthur, your leader for Flatline Motorsports. He's done it all tonight. It's been quite amazing to watch him out there running around. Last stopping on lap number 14, so he's pretty much due here any time if you were to go by that metric. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to do another stop. I might get a chance to talk with him here as he circles around the track. I'm just so nervous. I really don't want to try to pull in, even if he told me to do it. I really don't want to try to pull in Vincent and take a chance on, during a green flag run, possibly upsetting him and causing him to lose a race. So I may just hold off on doing that. But he does say, I'm looking at it, yeah, I will be offering in-race stuff for tonight. Racing is just running for fun. Pull me in whenever I can fit that to understand how the track may be possible strategies and stuff like that. I just don't know that one. But I did say, okay, they will try to pull you in during caution after your pit stop. They both gave me the thumbs up. I don't know if they thought maybe I was joking around after caution or what, but yeah, there's no cautions. And that's really the way it is. For example, when I was covering another series, they don't use cautions. In the official series, they don't use cautions here because there is some problem with cautions in the cup cars or the road courses use caution. It is possible to engage cautions on road courses, but I think there's some sort of a glitch for it, and so they choose not to do so. Ronnie Norman bringing it in for SS Motorsports, currently sitting in that 7th position. We'll take that service. We'll be underway here momentarily as Josh Conover has now emerged in front of Brady Motes for that 2nd spot. So there you can see just behind the 33 car battling it out. That's Torrance Shirts. And Brady Motes. Those Shirts just sitting in front of Motes. Motes now having to work his way through the lap car of the lap truck of Shirts there. We watch on to see whether or not Motes can manage to get by. But Arthur enjoying quite a lot of time up there in the sun. It's a bit too easy for Arthur, if I'm being completely honest, but this is sort of road course racing. And a lot of times, this is what we see in official racing and otherwise, where one driver just seems to have that truck figured out, maybe a little bit better than everybody else. Now, it's not every single lap, though. Last lap at 22.58 from Arthur, 23.90 for Conover, 25 for Brady Motes to get to work his way through lap traffic. I just think one of the things that Arthur is doing really well out there is working his way through this lap traffic. It just seems that he is not getting slowed up where some others are. If I look back to Sean Briscoe, he just put in the fastest Sector 4 time of the race. So perhaps Briscoe not quite done as far as trying to put in fast times. Jump back here to the closest race we got. This is between Brad Fulham for 14th place, Full Send Motorsports, and Jason Conover. Conover has kind of cooled off of where he was before as far as being the hardest charger, but he's still up 8 spots from where he qualified in 15th place now. We're still going after Brad Fulham. Got a little bit of a run there, but then a little bit too much curve into that apex curve. Giving him a little bit of a chance to catch up here through that corner. Now we've got this very long straightaway. Ahead, just by about 6/10 of a second now. Good racing back here in the mid-pack, and I guess that's really one of the keys, is it doesn't really matter where you are in the field. There's always somebody to race, and there's always some things to do. You know, there's always strategy to consider. As we do now see Vincent Arthur pulling it down pit lane, I didn't figure he could make it all the way to the end. These trucks can only hold so much fuel, so wasn't sure exactly what lap he would bring it in on, but Arthur taking that final pit stop. Drives it out so calmly. Was not over revving it on his way out. Orange Shirts also making his pit stop at the moment. Arthur back out into the lead, and Conover in second place. Conover 3-second gap now to Arthur, but Conover coming in on lap 20, so unless I'm mistaken, he's going to need another stop. But 4.4 seconds now up the road to Arthur, and that gap continues to grow. Maybe just our software starting to catch up a little bit here, but Conover has put in a solid race, and he's been in an alternate strategy over what Arthur has been in terms of hitting. And so Conover, you know, putting himself in position to potentially take third place, maybe fourth place here tonight. Brady Moats, not that far back down the road. I mean, the thing is, I can't really predict. Honestly, these field windows are a bit foreign to me here on this road course. I don't have any advanced knowledge, so it could be that Conover could hold that truck out there. We'll have to see if he does have to make another stop. Moats and Briscoe hanging on there in third and fourth place. Brian Powell Motorsports looking very good here. I should mention two Brian Powell Motorsport machines in the top 5. Capital Motor Club represented by Sean Briscoe, and Flatline Motorsports by Vincent Arthur out there in the lead. Back here in 11th place, Matthew George. Matthew having a decent run after numerous incidents early on. Finally worked his way back into 11th place before he started. Here's Brady Moats now making his entrance into the pits for the final time today. So he'll get passed on screen by Sean Briscoe. Briscoe last stopping on lap number 29. Brian Jones on lap number 28. So the drivers probably done with their pitting for the day. Arthur, though, still the same. He's done pitting for today. Conover is going to have to pit. And Conover continues this lap on lap number 33. But like I said, how long will he be able to stay out? When will he decide to make that stop? That is anyone's question. All of these trucks separated by well over a second, so at the moment, not really too many battles going on. We do see that Briscoe starting to close in on the back of Conover now, so I wonder if Conover is trying to just pedal that car and get a little bit more gas out of that tank. I'm not really sure, but he does seem to be slowing down a bit. As Sean Briscoe last time by at 20.54, Conover's 23.41. Obviously, that is not going to be able to hold on to second place at that kind of rate. So once again, thanks everybody for joining us here on VirtualRacing.Network. Our ongoing coverage here will be sure it's whatever caused that glitch earlier on to be broadcasting on the wrong feed. Appreciate everybody finding the correct feed, and we've got everything kind of retitled and renamed, and everything should be correct now for anybody else. Try to get that glitch fixed on our end. In the meantime, we're all learning new things tonight. There are no cautions after the stages, which makes perfect sense. And we are learning that Vincent Arthur is pretty much unstoppable, whether it's turning left only or turning left and right. Briscoe now works his way under Conover for that second position. Conover kind of just a sitting duck out there, not able to defend. Briscoe is going to be challenged as they head down this front straightaway, but I'm not sure that Conover has anything for him through turn number 1. Briscoe taking that position and starting to close the door there. Conover going to fight back, though, on the inside. Briscoe, I think, thought he was going to get that one a lot easier, but either way, Briscoe, Conover continued this battle. I'm not sure, again, how long Conover can fight this one out. Oh, almost tagged the back end of Briscoe there. Briscoe up into the front of Conover. That passing there for second place. Brian Jones for Brian Powell Motorsports just behind this battle, about 5 seconds. So he's trying to work his way back into this battle for second and third. Currently, he turned a 2:20 this last time by Conover 2:24. So Conover just really struggling with that truck at the moment, trying to keep that thing pointed forward. Jason Conover doing out there. It looks like he took a little bit too far into the corner this last time by. Let's see this for the Brian Powell Motorsports driver. Indeed, a little too far deep, and he manages to get it rolling again. Craig Schroeder. Similar issue, perhaps. This one quite a bit sideways. Well, that's certainly not the quick way through the corner. The number 10, though, regroups, gets it going again. Schroeder, just really, this isn't his night, as we can see that this happened. Schroeder having to get that one pointed back forward again. This is kind of like watching Trevor on iRacing, Trevor Greenfield here on iRacing. You don't want to watch my laps too closely. Quite a few mistakes that I made out there. I have a number of wins to my name and a decent iRating, but I have certainly made my fair share of mistakes. That's why I have nothing but the greatest appreciation for these drivers. Go out there, put in a full-length race. It's difficult enough to just put in, like, say, 10 laps, a nice short race, but have to do an entire full-length stint in these trucks is something else. Certainly, you get out there and you do endurance racing, you have to do 2-3 stints in a row and then you hit, and that's something you get used to. But you're out there driving these trucks around, having to put in so much input, and your heart's in your throat for the race. It is really something to try to keep it pointed right and not make a mistake. Here we've got Joey States and Cody Height battling it out. This is for 8th place. States on that outside, and there is Height fighting back through on the inside. Kind of wiggling that truck around there as he exits the corner. Height having a decent run here. Up in the top 10, and Height taking it the long way around, kind of slow getting off the corner. States really wanted that one. Not able to snag it. And States sends it. And, I mean, just absolutely took way too much curbing that truck went for a wild ride for those of you who just saw it. We can tell exactly what that looked like. This is Steve, and as I mentioned, those sleeping policemen, I don't know if that's exactly what they are, but they're the equivalent of that in the middle of the apex. I mean, you do not want to take too much curb here at COTA, otherwise you will find your way into one of those things. That's exactly what we're not. We did have a scary moment for Brady Motes, I believe. Let's look at this one. Motes go very far off track. Not very far. Just far enough to trigger the off track. We'll bring it back on. Vincent Arthur, just 7 laps remain for him here at Circuit of the Americas. It's been a stellar run for him. And certainly looking like it is the night that will belong to him. He's been having so much fun, I'm sure, out there. We look forward to talking to him after the race here tonight. Briscoe sitting in second place. That's where he qualified. In fact, if you look back, the top 5, they're literally right where they qualified. You got Vincent Arthur up in front, Sean Briscoe in second, Josh Conover in third place, Brian Jones in fourth, Brady Motes in fifth. As I mentioned, that's exactly where they qualified. Then you really don't have to go much further back. Here's Ronnie Norman, who's up 2 spots from where he started. Timothy Harper, he's only drifted back 1 spot from where he started. Cody Height, he's back 1 spot from where he started. Joey State, that's where he started, in 9th place. That's where he's currently at. Nick Geilis started in 10th, he's running in 10th. Matthew George started in 11th, he's running 11th. Jacob Vladelich, he started in 12th, and he's running in 12th as well. It's, then you get back to Jason Conover, he's gained 10 positions from where he started. Brad Fulham started at 14th, he's in 14th. Torrance Shirts, he's running in 15th, guess where he started? Mark Brenkamp started 16th, running in 16th. So, I'd say, call me a liar. Nope, that's actually our leader, Vincent Arthur, squeaking through there. But, I mean, you just don't see that very often. To be honest with you, I call a lot of these races and you just don't see that so far into a race where all of these drivers are pretty much where they started the race at. They usually gain 1 or 2 spots or something like that. But we're having fun out here at Circuit of the Americas. Everything is bigger in Texas, and certainly this road course is a big challenge for all of these drivers to keep it straight. John Briscoe, though, keeping it straight here, holding down second place, doing a fabulous job at that. Josh Conover riding around in third place. He's had an up and down night. He hasn't really made too many mistakes per se, but his strategy is kind of a live or die strategy where he went long on the first stint, and that allowed Vincent Arthur to get in, get his fresh tires. Currently, Josh running 222.49, and Vincent Arthur did a 220.26 that last lap. So Conover not going to be able to track down probably second or first place here, but if he can keep it straight, he'll hold on for podium position here tonight, and I think that's ideally what he would like. All these drivers there in the top 5, it's at a track like this where there's a chance in turn 1 when everything can go wrong, or at various points on the track. These are difficult machines to race side by side around a track like this, so I think you count yourself lucky wherever you're at in the top 5 if you finish where you qualify. If I'm just being totally honest here, I mean, I think a lot of drivers would like to do a little bit better, of course. I'm sure Briscoe, as he made that pass on the opening lap, thought for at least a fleeting moment that he might take the race victory. But at a track like this, like I said, I think you just count yourself lucky that you don't get taken out, you don't accidentally make a mistake and toss that truck around sideways and end up off the track and be back in 15th or 18th position. And so a lot of these drivers really going to be going away from this one, I think, pretty happy with the result. 5 laps remaining here for Vincent Arthur in his number 3 Chevy for Flatline Motorsports. He's been doing it all tonight, been making it look easy, as I continue to say, because he does. He just doesn't make these mistakes that, well, we've seen a number of these drivers making those mistakes tonight. You go back to like 11th Matthew George, not to pick on anybody, but he's made a number of mistakes tonight, and he's got about a 24-second gap to the next car, a minute, 6 seconds to Joey States. It's really, and this is something that I can speak from experience, it is those little mistakes that cost you. It's not how fast you are in the truck. It's not how good of overall average laps you can turn. It is those little mistakes that take you out of these races. And I think that's, just to speak about it for a second, that's one of those things that you pick up on as you race longer and longer, is that you may even be a little bit slower than the fastest guys out there. But if you don't make mistakes, you tend to finish in that top 5 or maybe the top 10. And it's when you make those easy to make mistakes, you're trying to keep up with the top 5. You're trying to keep up with drivers just behind. And I think we've got a moment here from Schroeder again. He's taking it well off track. Bring it back on, and now he's going to bring it into the pits. Schroeder having quite a wild night. And just as I said that, Vincent Arthur, I'm just going to show this because you may not see another one. Vincent Arthur having an actual off-track here. And really not a scary off-track. You just have to let that truck drift out a little bit too long. But he still, if you watch, he just throws that truck into that final corner and gets some extra turning radius out of it. Why don't we go ahead this next lap here, and we'll let Vincent Arthur take you around this track. No interference from me. We'll get a good solid lap and a half behind the wheel with Vincent Arthur. Here you go, courtesy of Vincent. You can feel free to crank it up. back here live. Good chance to see what it's like to ride around in the truck in the lead. Vincent Arthur, so smooth, so efficient with that truck throughout the course of this race. It's been a joy to watch. We do have a little bit of a battle happening back here between Timothy Harper and Cody Height. This for 8th place, actually for 7th place. Between Cody Height in the one machine, Harper ahead in that number 99 for Harper Motorsports. Height, one of the independents in the field. Not too many in tonight's race. He's the only one, actually. So Height now taking a look down the inside of Harper. He's going to think twice about that one. Back it out. Although Harper takes it a little too deep into the corner, that gives Height a chance to challenge back once again. We've seen that a number of times tonight where drivers, I think, get a little too caught up with what's going on in their mirrors. Maybe let it go a little bit too far deep into the corner to kind of seesawing back and forth in the position. Come back to that in just a second. This was just a moment ago from Mark Bremkamp, though. I believe Bremkamp having a real slide sideways here. Comes to an absolute stop almost here. The exit of the corner. Good looking truck though. Good looking truck. Harper and Height still battling it out for this 7th position. Just 2 laps remaining here. And here you can see Harper, that number 99 truck on the inside. He's trying to hold on so desperately. Height getting that run in the number 1 machine around the outside, able to do so. Arthur, though, closing this one out in a hurry. Around the final corner, Barney the Flag Man has that white flag in the air. Just 1 more lap remaining for Vincent Arthur. Looking solid out there for certain. And it's been just one of those easy-going nights for him. Once he got over the initial pass of Sean Briscoe, I haven't seen him having any struggles with lap cars whatsoever. He's not made any wrong moves. I mean, I've been watching for things like off tracks, etc. He just hasn't had any real mistakes, so to speak, tonight. And it'll be a joy to talk to him after this race. Get a chance to hear from him and what his take on tonight's race and the track was like. Hopefully we get a chance to talk with him. Josh Conover currently sitting in 3rd, and perhaps Sean Briscoe. Looking forward to this one at the end. But stay tuned for that. We're still working our way through this final lap here tonight. Cody Height sitting back here trying to still gauge whether he can get by Tim Harper. But I don't think so. It's a little too far back. Next closest battle is back here for Jason Conover, up 10 positions so far. Still trying to get another one, get up there into 12th from 13th position. Jacob Vladelich just ahead. They're trying to close this one out. Is it going to be Conover able to get by here in turn 1? Not quite able to get up there under braking. It's been a solid night, though, for a number of these drivers. Jason's got to kind of look at that, gain 10 spots on the night. As I mentioned, all of these top 5 drivers got to be pretty happy to end up where they qualified. This is just one of those tracks where anything could have gone in turn wrong in turn 1. And to just survive until the end of this is the way to go. No cautions to save you and allow you to regroup. No ability to just get in and get those pit stops done. And either way, Vincent Arthur going to be looking at a checkered flag in hand here momentarily from Barney the Flag Man. We look on that left side. There's the flag coming out. And the checkered flag for Vincent Arthur from Flatline Motorsports here at Circuit of the Americas. Absolutely fantastic stuff from Arthur tonight. Look a little bit further back there, Sean Briscoe. Briscoe, he had a moment in the sun. He did take the lead for a brief moment, but It wasn't to be. The victory not in hand tonight. He won't need it, though. Second place, good enough for Briscoe for the Capital Motor Club. And Conover, he'll bring it through about another 11 seconds back. Feel good about that one. Here comes Brian Jones across there in fourth place. And Brady Motes just coming out of the final corner now. He'll bring it across in fifth place. You got to work a whole long ways back up the track. Ronnie Norman, that number 6 truck, a minute and 1 second back from Brady Motes. So huge gap back to him. But still finishing on the lead lap, and I guess that's all that really matters. Ronnie Norman here bringing it across in this final lap. Harper still staying ahead of Cody Height here on this final lap. They're still pulling it across here. There's still a chance for Height to take this position on the final lap. So we watch on to see whether or not he can actually do that. Height hanging on. We get set for our NORA Truck Victory Lane discussion with these drivers. Coming up to 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Again, thanks for hanging out with us here on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be here again tomorrow night. Circuit of the Americas in the Cup Series. So you won't want to miss it. It'll be exciting stuff. It's kind of a warm-up tonight for Vincent Arthur, Josh Conover, Brady Motes, Ronnie Norman, and a lot of these drivers we will be seeing tomorrow night. And Cody not able to take that final position away from Tim Harper, but he gave it a good run here tonight, finishing in that 8th position. Joey States just bringing it to a close here. Coming through turn 1, see a lot of damage to the right side on that machine. Nick Geilis also bringing it to a finish here. So we'll be able to bring up your final results. Stay with us here. We'll be right back just 1 second. So as you can see here, the final results on your screen for tonight's race at the Circuit of the Americas. It is none other than Vincent Arthur manages to get it done here. Flatline Motorsports takes the win, as you saw, with relative ease. Congratulations to him tonight. That is some substantial awesomeness from Vincent. Second place, Sean Briscoe. He had the lead for just a second. He took it on the opening lap. Wasn't able to get it back again. Josh Conover, with some fuel strategy, he was able to get up there into the lead for a moment, but it was for naught in the end. It was just a chance to taste what it's like to be up there in the lead, but unfortunately having to settle for a little bit further back. Still a great podium position for him. Josh Conover, the owner of the NORA Series, and feeling like probably a podium is about as good as he could do tonight. But we'll get a chance to talk with him and Sean and Vincent here momentarily. See the rest of the finishers on your screen. Brian Jones there in fourth. He had a great run. He was as high as second, but all the way back in fourth there. Fifth to Brady Motes, sixth to Ronnie Norman, seventh to Timothy Harper, eighth to Cody Height, ninth to Joey States, 10th to Nick Geilis, 11th Matthew George, 12th Brad Fulham, 13th Corin Schertz, 14th Jacob Gladilich, 15th Jason Conover, 16th Mark Bremkamp, 17th Cody Dorsey, 18th to Craig Schroeder, Trevor White in 19th, Keegan Bitzer in 20th, Josh Slauson in 21st, Christopher Heights in 22nd, and Corey Danielson. What a ride he had tonight. finishes all the way back in 23rd and 37 laps off. Like he was not out there at the end, so that'll give us a chance to bring in our top three. Let's go ahead and talk with Josh Conover here momentarily. Get him into the broadcast booth. There we go. Hey, Josh, do you read me?
I got you.
Hey, Josh, great having you here on the NORA Victory Circle discussion here. Talk us through your night. It was a crazy one. I know you were racing on some fuel strategy that was a little different than everybody else. How was the start for you? And yeah, just talk us through how everything went for you tonight.
Started a little rough. I didn't expect to almost kill my teammate there getting into turn one. Fell back to, I think, 4th or 5th and kind of just rode there. It was nice battling Sean and Brian. It was all kind of clean and respectful. Nobody, got in anybody. I think I finally cleared them both towards the end of the first run, and I knew my rears were better. I could just get off the corner a little bit better. They were sliding around a lot, so I figured I would stay out. I just kind of got in a rhythm, wasn't even paying attention, and before I knew it, it was lap 20, so kind of on the fly adjusted my strategy and went for the one stop, and I think it cost me a chance to get Sean. We were close, like I said before the first stop, but podium after the first couple of races, I can't be mad with that.
Absolutely. Still, you chose to go the long first stint with your pit stop strategy, Vincent and a number of others coming in earlier. Do you think that maybe with a different fuel strategy, you might have had that second or first? It sounds like you're a little disappointed to end up there in third and that you might have been able to tackle Sean.
Well, I mean, looking back at last year, Vince and I ended up battling for the win, and we got together on the last lap, and we were, swapping the lead, and it was a great race, honestly. But it was kind of the same thing as tonight. He had the short run speed, and I would be better on the long run. And he even said the same thing. It kind of was shaping up the same way. I just, like I said, I got out front and kind of got in a rhythm and just lost focus and looked down. Like I said, it was lap 20, and I had no fuel left. I was like, oh, well, okay. Sure, I guess we're doing this now. But no, the two stop was the way to go. Clearly, I mean, Sean passed me and pulled another 12 seconds on me, but I think if I would have paid attention and made the stop when Sean and them guys did, maybe it could have been second. But Vince is just crazy on road courses. I'm sure tomorrow will be some of the same you saw tonight. The 24 car out front, and him probably at least being a podium if everything goes according to plan. But it's can't complain with the podium. Like I said, I haven't had any stage points before the year, and I think I got 4th in both stages, so do that and then a podium, can't complain.
Absolutely can't complain. It's kind of interesting. The top 5 are exactly where they qualified for the race. They finished in the same place. You don't normally see that kind of thing, but still, you talk about it, and tomorrow night it's a whole different thing. Anything that you can cross over from tonight and say, okay, I'm going to do this different, I'm going to do that different. Are you going to go for a longer strategy? Are you going to be a little bit more on it? And also, do you think it's because this is such different racing here on a road course, requires some different focus, some different concentration, maybe wasn't quite as easy to stay on top of the strategy?
Tomorrow I actually don't know. I haven't actually turned many laps. I don't even know what we can get fuel-wise, because we run 60% race lengths and fuel loads to real life, so I want to say it's high 20s maybe. I think I remember like 28 laps or so for my program that I was looking at, but I know the race actually tomorrow is 1 lap shorter too, so I wish it was 1 lap shorter tonight. I wouldn't have had to save as much, but I don't know. Tomorrow's just a whole different animal too, because it's a totally different car. Obviously it's heavier, got different brakes and stuff. I guess the bigger brakes. You can definitely get into the corner a lot harder. Obviously having 5 gears instead of 4, changes the fuel number up a little bit. But I don't know. It's going to take something to get ahead of Vince, or even really around Vince. But I don't know. Like I said, I did last year in the trucks. Hopefully we can be a little bit more competitive with them tomorrow.
Well, either way, it looked really good out there tonight, Josh, and you held the lead for just a brief moment with your alternate strategy. you gave it a shot, but still to take home that podium's got to feel pretty good. And you're looking really good in the standings. So awesome job tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So that's Josh Conover checking in with us from third place here for Harper Motorsports, and he'll be back out again tomorrow night for the Cup Series. You won't want to miss it right here at VirtualRacing.Network. Good racing tonight from him. Tried to make it up into that top two. Possibly a shot at Vincent at the top, but he just wasn't quite able to do so tonight. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring in our second place finisher, Sean Briscoe. Sean made it a heck of a race to start. And Sean, you can talk to us now here on the NORA Victory Circle discussion. You made a pass on Vincent Arthur in the very early going, and we thought for a moment it might be Sean Briscoe's night, but it turned into second place, and you really couldn't quite chase down that Vincent Arthur machine. Still, congratulations in second. How did it go for you tonight out there on the track?
I mean, as good as it can get. If Vince wasn't here, I would have got the win. But, yeah, I know he's a road course guy, so he was the guy to beat. But I kind of knew when I got the lead, it was only like the first couple corners, but I knew when he got the lead, or I got the lead, I was like, well, see how long this lasts. And yeah, not very long, but it was fun just hanging on. And once I got into some open space, I was able to kind of get a rhythm down and not burn up my tires, so that was good. But yeah, overall I think the race went pretty good.
Well, and you had a couple of battles there early on with Josh Conover and Brian Jones. Anytime you have to battle like that on these road courses, and certainly with there being no stage caution, no chance to catch back up again, if you're out there battling with cars and somebody like Vincent is out there just out front running in clean air, you really are just watching the time tick off, and maybe you don't quite have a chance to catch back up again. Was there a time where you just kind of wanted to just pull ahead of all these other drivers and just get out there in clean air and run some clean laps, or were you having some fun out there battling with the other drivers?
I mean, it was fun battling. Like, that's kind of the whole reason why we're in this, is to race. So it's fun racing other people. The road course stuff is just a little different, especially with these cars. They're not really meant to turn right, so it's hard to get it to stop, turn, big old heavy things. But for me, I wanted to get in the clean air. I kind of figured if I can just get, settle for third or fourth or wherever, just kind of get in some clean air and just ride, the laps would just kind of click off, and I'll end up getting in a groove and hopefully be faster. But seemed like that happened after the pit stops. I kind of burned my tires up the first run, battling everybody. So once I kind of figured out like how hard I need to brake and keep braking, and didn't really have much time to practice before the race. So just trying to figure it out as we were going. But yeah, it was fun.
Well,
I kind of like the road course stuff, but I'm kind of ready to go back to an oval.
I can imagine. How did the strategy work out for you tonight? Did you feel like you got the strategy in that you wanted? Did you feel like you needed a different strategy than what you ended up with tonight? Would anything have given you a chance at Vincent, or did you feel like he was just kind of in a class of his own tonight?
Yeah, Vince was in a class of his own. I felt like I was just trying to pit every 14 laps, so cut it into like thirds. And I felt like, for me anyway, that was probably the smartest way to go, because you're not burning up your tires and going slower and slower, as the run went on when you're at 15, 16 laps. So I felt like 14 was a good compromise, just pit twice. I think that's how I got by Con over there at the end, because he was doing a 2 or a 1-stop strategy. And I think it's kind of hard to keep track of everything as we're out there, but felt like what I had was probably the best I could get for the driver. You know what I mean?
Well, either way, if you end up in second place, that is something to go home with. That certainly you accomplished what you needed to tonight, and you didn't throw it off. A number of drivers had a bunch of off tracks. You kept it pretty straight out there, and again, to come home second to Vincent when he is just on fire out there in that truck is no difficult evening for you. Great job though running in second, and anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we move on with our broadcast?
Everybody at the team, Corey and Craig, they're fun to hang out with and talk to and everything. I didn't really have chance to kind of like really talk this time because we were so focused on breaking points and not spinning out, going off track and everything like I said. But yeah, the team was great. And thanks for Conover for putting this all on, and you for interviewing everybody. And yeah, hope you guys have a good night.
That is Sean Briscoe. He had a fantastic race out there, and he looked like he could challenge for the lead for a little while. And either way, he looked solid up there in that second spot, giving it a great run. We'll see you next week, Sean. Appreciate it, my friend.
All right, you have a good one.
So that is Sean Briscoe, Capital Motor Club. He put him up there on the podium, and a great run from him. And that gives us a chance to talk with the man of the evening, the one that did it from pole position, and he looked solid all night. He never really looked back once he made it back by Sean Briscoe. Vincent now joining us here on the broadcast in Victory Circle discussion. Vincent, Arthur, wonderful job. Congratulations on your win here tonight. It feels like it was almost determined that you got pole position, and then you saw Sean go by you there after the first corner. Talk about that a little bit, and talk about once you got back by him, how everything kind of materialized for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, going in the first corner, I didn't really know where to brake. The start zone was a lot further ahead than I thought it was going to be. But I didn't know where to brake, and then when I first got on the brake, I was looking in the mirror the whole time, and Josh almost sent me. So I ducked down to the inside there and compromised my entry, which then compromised my exit. And yeah, Sean got around me, but I knew that, if I was just stayed patient, just stayed close to him, I could pressure him into a mistake and something like that, and then I could get past him. And I was able to kind of dive bomb him into the into 11 or whatever that turn is, down the back straight, and then get it back. And yeah, it was a hot track, and very little rubber went down initially, so I absolutely obliterated my rear tires. I thought I was saving, but no, I was not saving. My rear tires were absolutely shot. So once we got to lap 14, I was doing something Briscoe did, trying to split it in thirds. Once we got to lap 14, I came out, came back out, definitely made sure to save my tires. Conditions were just better for tire saving. And I felt that suited us a little better. And then I felt good with my lap times and how my tires were feeling. So try to extend that middle stint as long as I could. Try to get a 10, 11 lap around there at the end, because I knew that was around the time that the tires were going to drop off the cliff. So I could really push hard to the end and not have to worry about anything. I thought Josh was going to have something for me. He definitely had that long run speed that he had last year, but either mistakes or whatever kept him from getting up there, which is unfortunate, because I love racing around Josh, and he's been a great team owner, and we've had some really good battles here in the past. I really thought he was going to have something for me, but once I realized that he wasn't just trying to save to make it through, he was actually getting a mistake or two. That's when I kind of knew that the race was in my hands, and then once I made that last pit stop and came out in the lead, I knew from there it was settled.
Well, and not only was it settled, but there was a couple of other factors I think that came into beat. You really did not make many mistakes here tonight. I was watching the off tracks. I didn't see hardly any mistakes. And also, did it look like, from my perspective, it didn't look like you really had any trouble working through lap traffic. It just kind of seemed like everything just flowed for you pretty much perfectly here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, definitely around lappers, got to be more careful. But yeah, I mean, this track I've had thousands and thousands of laps in Formula One cars and GT3 cars, and those series are so track limit heavy, um, that it just kind of becomes second nature to take all of the track, but make sure you keep those two wheels on the track to either side. So yeah, I mean, a lot of experience. Obviously, these cars absolutely suck handling wise, especially compared to the cars that I'm used to driving here. But yeah, just that constant, just the flow of the racetrack, kind of trying to keep the tires under me, trying to keep the car under me, use all the track but not too much of the track. That's the key to success here. And getting by lap cars, they were pretty cordial today, so that wasn't too big of an issue. But it seemed that I would catch them at the right spots in the track, where I wouldn't lose a bunch of time. And they weren't battling when I got to them, which was pretty nice to see.
Well, my final question for tonight, I watched the Cup Series race from COTA here yesterday, and they fanned out 5-6 wide coming into turn one, and I kind of thought that might be the action, as the Truck Series seems to have a little bit of craziness to it, but it actually seemed pretty tame through turn one. Did you think that was going to happen tonight? And, did you find that things were pretty respectful out there tonight?
Yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen tonight. I felt like as long as I got through turn one, then I'd be, then I could settle in my rhythm and tick off laps. And I knew that I was going to have enough just raw speed to be able to compete with Briscoe and Conover and all those guys. So getting through turn one was definitely the biggest question. It can get wild sometimes, but the respect factor was pretty high tonight. I felt like a lot of people were giving each other space. I know there was a little bit of an incident between Timmy and Joey a couple times, but I think besides that, we kept it clean and respectful. I didn't hear about any issues if there were, but yeah, no, I was really hoping we would go green right after that first start, because restarts can get crazy here. And just like the start, I didn't know where to brake and almost got run over. So, your race could start and end within one corner, and survive that, and I can come out of here with a W. So.
Well, you did come out with the W, and of course, we'll see how that can convert to tomorrow night's race. Any last takeaways from you, or any shout-outs that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I want to give Josh Conover a shout out. Let me drive this truck. He's been, my schedule is super flexible. I can run whatever races that I want to down here, and the road courses and super speedways. Those are the ones where I feel like I can get the most points for the 3 trucks. So thanks to him for letting me drive it. Thanks for Napa, Exalta. We just picked up Red Bull as a sponsorship, so that'll be pretty cool. Hopefully they'll be on the car tomorrow. But yeah. A lot of experience gained today, and we'll try to take that into tomorrow and keep the momentum going in the Cup Series.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you out here tomorrow night. Great to have you out here tonight. Class of the show here, Vincent Arthur. Put on a great run, and indeed, tomorrow night, can you repeat? That is the question. Congratulations with your victory.
I'll do my best. Thank you.
So that's Vincent Arthur. He absolutely smoked the competition out here tonight. Thought he might have a challenge in the long run, but it was not meant to be, and he pretty much took victory by 20 seconds over Sean Briscoe, and fantastic run from him tonight. What more can be said? Look forward to tomorrow night, the NORA Cup Series, same channel, right around the same time, just a little bit earlier, about a half an hour earlier, going to be starting at 8:30 or so Eastern Time. Be sure to check back here on VirtualRacing.Network. If you're not already subscribed, hit that big subscribe button. And please like this video, and you'll get much more of this action in your feed. VirtualRacing.Network, your exclusive home to the NORA Truck and Cup Series. I'm Trevor Greenfield. It's been a blast covering this tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow night, right here from Circuit of the Americas Virtual iRacing facility. So until then, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.